an appointment right at 2 and I need to catch up on that.
What? Sorry.
I have an appointment at
Hi, welcome. Let's talk about writing, how to write and publish a book. Mastermind Q&A. And today I'm with Diana. I'm super excited to catch up with Diana and all of you. So I received a lot of questions by email. But first, I would love to ask Diana about her writing journey. If anything new, any question before I dive in the email and all the questions.
my writing journey has stalled since the fall, but
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it a lot and so I have days sometimes where I ask myself if I have the energy to push forward, not so much with the writing, but with the business I've thought about creating around it, because it is such a hard topic, being addiction. And so sometimes it just, it takes a lot of energy to write about it because it's a hard thing to write about. So yeah. And I don't really have any questions other than, I guess, have you questioned what you're doing? Not, again, I'm not questioning writing the book. I'm questioning the business part of it. Um, do I have the energy to do that? Do I really want to do that? So have you done that?
So, having energy is really important for writing. I understand because it's really taking a lot of us, especially when it's so personal and when it's a really tough, hard subject to write about. I really don't like to put like subject of a book if you want to write about anything. I don't like to put it in a good or in a bad place, but it's true. One is about addiction, or like I wrote about adoption. It took a lot of energy. And I cannot say, oh no, it's okay. It didn't take energy. It's okay. I'm good. So, yeah. So, what I did, because I had a client who asked me about that, she is writing about her husband, and her husband died before a few years ago. And since she's not here today, I won't share too much. She will do it next time she's here. But yeah, she was texting me and saying, it's taking me so much energy. I'm just so exhausted. And so I give her a few tips to really create a nice place and to be ready to write in a certain position and not in the sofa, but in a chair when your back is like, really straight, and to have that nice place, maybe just make a tea or coffee before, light a candle. I don't know, something that you are doing every time you are writing, and you create that routine of writing. And I think the most difficult is actually to build that writing routine. And I can send you some tips like I did for her. I will send that to all the group, to everyone here, so you can read about that a little bit more because it's really important. But I think more we are doing it, and less it's becoming less stressful. It's still a big subject and it's still personal, but her brain is getting okay, we are going to do it now. So especially if you have that routine of making a tea and having candles or whatever you like, so your brain already know, okay, we are going to write again, so I'm ready. So it's changing with time. It's taking a few weeks, but it's changing with time, and it's getting less and less stressful. It's more like a mechanism, like, okay, we are going to do it again. So I will send an email with all of that. It's a good idea. I know that I received a few questions, so I will. And I would love, Diana, I would love your opinion about that. So I have someone. She asked. I'm curious to learn more about the creation of the chapter for a book. How does one come up with the topic of the chapter, title for the chapter, and how many chapter? So, do we create first the book outline, or first we are just writing and then creating the chapter? So what she's asking is actually really interesting because I know a lot of people who are doing first of all the outline, the chapter, and then they are writing. So what do you think about that, Diana?
Well, I will say from my personal experience, um, I think it helped me to create the outline because I felt like then I had more direction. Whereas like when I was just writing, even though I knew the topic I wanted to write about, um, my perfectionism would come out and I would just get stuck on that chapter or a couple chapters and I wouldn't get past that. And then so then for years I was just writing the same chapters, right? The same first chapters. So then I realized if I got organized a little bit more and had some direction, that didn't mean that I had to go in sequential order for each chapter. But like let's say I wrote, 10 chapters, but like I was kind of stuck on the 11th, then I might look through the rest of the chapters and go, oh, you know what? I kind of feel like writing about this chapter today. So I could jump over to that chapter and write in that chapter that day. Or I might even say like if I got stuck on chapter 11, maybe this isn't the what I want to really write about in this chapter. Like I would label the chapters. What I did was I labeled the chapters as what I thought I wanted that chapter to be about, like and that was, they were in sequential order. But then sometimes when I'd get to that chapter, I'd realize that really wasn't what I wanted to write about in that chapter. So it's okay to change as you go.
So so it's interesting what you are saying. Okay, so I know that a lot of people start like with the outline and they need to have the chapter. But I actually created a new way of doing that. And I think I already share with you, Diana, but I will
Yeah,
share
and
it.
yeah, and I like your method too a lot. And it's sort of like what I like about your method is it's like an outline. It's just not really in sequential order. Like, and so you could put it where you felt like it belonged. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Like, in fact, I think you could even do both of them. Like you could do an outline in sequential order, like I did, and you could do your version, which I'm sure you're going to show. I hope you are.
Yes.
And then you could kind of look and go like, oh, because it like I think when you showed me your version and I did it for myself, I actually came up with a few additional potential chapters, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think they're both beneficial. And actually I didn't exactly do an outline. I just wrote my what I wanted on sticky notes for each chapter. Like chapter 1 was going to be
Yeah.
about this and chapter 2 was going to be about
Yeah.
this. So I didn't even really per se write an outline, but like, I did
Yeah.
label them. I did number them. So
So, it's really depending, like you said, there are no right or wrong. It's really depending on the person who is writing. My point of view about that is that writing is changing all the time. It's not static. It's always affecting a lot of stuff. It's energy, and so it will move and create and transform and change all the time. And so I really don't. I really believe you know what you want to write about, but I really believe also that you need to um, really trust the process. And so I know I show you that, but I will show it again. And so In the middle, I put the diamond, right? What? Here, the diamond. And so, and all around, it's all the stuff, all the chapter you will have in your book. Now, the connection between the diamond to the little circle is actually the heart of the story. So, I really believe on like the diamond of the story, the heart of the story, and what you are going to, how many people, and how it will help you and the people around you. So we all have that one subject we want to write about, right? And you said addiction, right? And for me, it was adoption. So I put adoption in the middle, in the diamond, because it was the subject who was so important to me. And of course, now it's another diamond, right? Today I have another subject in my diamond. I have so many more. But when I start writing, it was adoption. And so I put all around my parents and my birth mom and everything connected to my adoption and many more, but connected. And the heart of the story is a connection between all the chapter and between all the bubble, right? And that heart of the story is actually why is so important to you to share that? What is your message? Why do you want to talk about addiction? Because so many people are already talking about addiction, right? So why do you want? What is moving you? And what is like so important to you to share about? I know, and I will ask you, Diana, in a second, but I know that for me, it was like always there, like you're adopted, you're adopted, you're adopted, always. So for me, it was like I cannot move anymore in my life, in my relationship, in my job, in any nothing can move again until I'm not done with that adoption. And I really believe that taking the time to write about that is really freedom. I'm free. I can put that back and put another word in my diamond. And the why is really important. Is how you connect everything. But now I want to ask you, Diana, why? So your diamond is addiction. Tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe
No,
I'm
you're
wrong.
right. You're right. That is my
Okay.
diamond. Mhm.
and and so it's really something really important for you, and of course connected to your life and everything, like that's why we are talking about writing. And so what do you want to share the why, the heart behind that?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's funny, actually. I started first writing about being assaulted when I was young, but like it still connects to addiction because I really think like because my parents were alcoholics that I think I could be wrong, but I think that in a lot of ways prevented me from going to them for help because they were so wrapped up in their addiction that they not that they didn't love their kids, like we had a loving family, but like I I think it was a combination of it was just that era of time where people didn't talk about those things, A, and but B, I didn't think what was going on with me mattered. And it was, I think, again, in a big part because my parents were in active addiction at the time. So the focus was it was chaos. There was no focus, and it was for sure wasn't on our well-being. I mean, I knew they, again, I knew they cared about us, but so like really that's how I started it, writing about an assault, but really then it like I've just had so much addiction revolve around me in my life. So starting with the parents, then my ex-husband, no, he was sober when I met him, but he still had a lot of the traits, and then my kids. So and then other people in my life too. So it's been everywhere and it changed my life
I'm
in
sure it
good,
did. I'm
in
sure
good
it's changing life for.
yeah.
Um, Thank you so much for sharing. I know it's super personal. It's super like it's not easy to talk about that, but I would like to invite you and all of you, if when you watch the recording, to think about one word that for you is connected with that addiction, that story, one feeling, one. Um, I always do that exercise of closing your eyes and touching your heart and just giving a moment to like, why? Why do I need that? I know that for me, it was forgiveness.
Mhm.
I don't know.
That's
Everyone is
true.
different. So
I
for me,
think,
was
yeah, I mean, I think forgiveness is a big part of mine too. I think forgiveness and healing the trauma for me, like
yeah.
those were probably the biggest parts.
Mhm. Yeah. So it's really
And
important to remember.
and probably for both of us, I would say sharing your story because like especially with addiction and with a lot of things, we've had to work hard to reduce the stigma of those things. So the
Yes,
stigma of adoption, the stigma of addiction, the stigma of assault, the stigma of domestic
absolutely.
violence. So like because all those things were swept under the rugs for so many years.
But that part actually is the third part is that the how do you say that in English ripple effect
Mhm,
of your story. So
mhm,
I always like the heart, the diamond, the ripple effect. So what you are
mhm,
talking about now is actually the third part. It's
mhm,
like it's helping you, but it's also helping other people. And then we can talk about the stigma and all kind of other stuff.
right.
Yeah, so it's a three parts. So
Mhm,
for me, in my opinion, I just start writing. And when I have a lot of writing, I already know I really trust the process and I already know inside of me. But we need to listen and we need to be super aware. And it's not always easy to put that part here and that here and start playing with that like a puzzle.
mhm,
But to remember that the heart of the story need to be everywhere, to be one book, one manuscript, and not a list of grocery store. Yeah, I'm going to buy blah 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 blah. So yeah. Anyway, all right, great. So I have one more question about. Let's see. So that was Audrey question. So thank you, Audrey, for your question. Um, okay. So the second question is about children book. Yeah, I love children book. So about children book, I have a children book. Ruby is scared, and one lady asked about Ruby. Susan asked about Ruby, and she asked, "It's in a farm. It's happening in a farm, and because it's happening in a farm, she asked me." Why you farm and did you live in a farm? So no, I didn't. And so actually I started writing that book in 2016 with my son Erez because he was super scared. And at first it was happening in a kibbutz in Israel. So I'm not going to explain a kibbutz right now. You can Google it. But it's a small society, small, amazing, close society, and we were living there. And so Ares was really young, he was 2 or 3, and he was scared. So I created that story of a little bird. So Ruby was a bird in a kibbutz, and now she's a dog in a farm. Yeah. So I think that writing children book, you have more of possibility to play with your manuscript and the picture and decide whatever you want. Not because whatever, there are a lot of stuff behind every decision, uh, but you can play more. Like it's more like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. Yeah, let's see if I have one more question. And then I think for today we are good. Okay, so do I have one more question? Mm, yeah, so how to decide how long to write every time we are writing? So it's the last question from Megan. And so, about how long to write, I really invite you to do a list of all your non negotiable. And when I say non negotiable, is like if you have a job from 9 to 5, it's non negotiable. If you have children to pick up from school, it's non negotiable. And I have a friend, she's like, I'm going to the gym every morning, it's not negotiable. So you do a list of your non negotiable, and when you are done, you can decide when and how long you can write every week. I always say that longer your list of non negotiable and less you can write, because we cannot just ignore our life and say, okay, I want to write a book, so I'm going to ignore my husband, my family, my kids, and my grandkids. It's not possible, right? I cannot, okay, I don't want to pick up my kids today. Yeah, no. So it's really depending on the list of non negotiable you have in your life. I really encourage you to start by less than 1 hour a week, but it's really depending on the if your list is long or not. So, but you are welcome to send me an email and tell me if your non-negotiable list is really long or super short, and I can help you to set up days and time to write. So, okay, thank you so much for all the question. It was really, really interesting. And Diana, do you have a question about that or not? What? I cannot hear you.
No, I don't think so.
All right. Did you have a list of non-negotiable?
Um, yeah, I mean, my kids are adults, so I can put a no interruptions sign on the door and they should, I tell
Understand?
them, unless someone's dying or the house is burning down, give me this hour.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Like we said, like if it's not no blood, you can survive.
yeah,
We're good.
yeah.
No, I'm kidding. But
And if there's blood, you should be calling 911 anyway.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah. So okay, great. So our next one, it will be on the 21st, 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And we will have an author, Cheryl Devon. She will be here to talk about her book. I'm so excited. I have her book somewhere here. It's like so amazing. And I don't want to tell you too much because I really want you to come and listen to her story, and we will have fun. So I think that's all for today. So thank you so much for being with us, and with all of you watching the recording tomorrow or whenever you're ready to watch it. I will send it tomorrow anyway. And I hope to see you on the 21st for Let's Talk About Writing, how to write and publish a book. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Diana.
Bye.